Brodes Media.
Nick, and I really mean this, is one of the best coaches I've been around, and talking about coaching situational ball, really understanding what to do in the right moment, motivating guys. We coach things up in team meetings and hold people accountable better than pretty much any other coach I've been around. And I think he does a lot of things. Players love him. They'll play hard for him. I know it was a really shitty year for us, but I think that Nick has a lot to bring as value as the head coach, and the organizational leadership that he provides for the team.
Okay, so let's start picking that thing apart. When it comes to accountability, when it comes to managing the game, when it comes to being prepared for every moment and knowing what to do on the football field when it's crunch time, when you need a big stop, you can't even get the right amount of guys on the field, and then I also see you burning timeouts. How does that actually compare, what Jason Kelce just said, to what we saw on the field? I just don't believe it's true. And, he discusses the situational ball. I can make the argument that I think Nick Sirianni took a massive step back in that area. I wasn't as down on Sirianni with some of those details in previous years, so maybe this is a one-off. Maybe this is more just along the lines of a down season. A wide receiver could be a 1,000-yard guy for 2 straight years, and then maybe a third year pops in and he only gets 768 yards. Well, what happened? They are looking for a bounce back. Then the following season, he's back to 1,000 yards. It's not impossible, and maybe because Kellen Moore is able to really grab the offense, run with it, and Sirianni could take a step back. And the same is applied to Vic Fangio, where the defense will be good. You don't have to worry. You don't need to really study the same way that you did Brian Johnson and that you did Sean Desai, because these two men have been leaders before in these positions, and it's worked out well for them. So you can take a deep breath, allow others to do their job. And when you do that, Nick Sirianni could be more prepared for those moments that I referenced that really bit you in the ass in some big-time games, Like you cannot be burning timeouts because you can't properly get who you need to on the field. That is garbage. That's losing football. And the more and more that happens, you lose trust in the head coach. Because I know for damn sure, if I'm lining up and I see that, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. I'm putting my hands up. Both hands are up. You can read my body language on the field that I'm getting pissed off. I'm getting aggravated, because if you're setting yourself up behind the sticks, or if you're burning a timeout, so that means when we're at the end of the first half and it's a 3-point game and now we're looking to put up some numbers and then get the ball back at the start of the second half and really pound them with points, and now all of a sudden you lose the opportunity to, or now you have to rely on a 57-yard field goal. Luckily, we believe in Jake Elliott to bang it home, but not everybody has that luxury. And if you have to rely on a 59-yarder instead of having another timeout in your back pocket and seeing if you can get closer to maybe making it a 47, 48, that is a huge difference. And if you lose out on that, that could be the difference in winning or losing a football game, gaining momentum for a second half or not, especially if you score a touchdown on the opening drive and now you got 10 points in a row to pop up on the scoreboard. I don't get that part of it. And, the team meetings and all that stuff. I watched the games. I'm not saying Jason Kelce's lying. That's not what I'm saying. I don't know if it's as great as what he's portraying, and it sounds as if he's really just putting a lot of stock in Sirianni because he wants Sirianni to thrive. He wants Sirianni to do well. He's rooting for Nick Sirianni to be the next head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles for 10 to 15 years. And listen, I have no problem with that if they are able to turn this around and be great. if they could be an unbelievable football team with sustained success and Jalen Hurts can carry the squad and improve, because Jalen Hurts has to improve too. There's a lot of concerns with me on just the physical sense of Jalen, and I love Jalen, but I do not see the same level of explosiveness. I don't see the same runner that I saw the Super Bowl season, and if that is more than just, hey, he's injured and needed an off season to really get that knee tested out and to see where his body is at, if this is more of a long-term concern and he just lost whatever that was in that department, well, then that's brutal. Now, I hope to see Kellen Moore try some things that we haven't seen with Jalen Hurts in years past, and I'm curious to see what some of the under center stuff looks like from an offensive perspective. And, just in general, it's going to be a new look and a new dynamic to the offense, so I'm excited for it, and I do believe that he can get more out of Jalen Hurts than we saw last season because it was a mess. Is there a limitation because of where his physical state is currently at? I don't know. All right, let's go to the next cut of Jason Kelce, who continues.
Nick moving to like a head coaching position. He removed himself from play calling duties last year with Shane Steichen, right? Yep. That ended up working out pretty damn good. Nick has shown in his tenure with the Eagles that he's going to do whatever he thinks is in the best interest of the Philadelphia Eagles. And he's going to make those decisions. And he doesn't care about how other people perceive it. He doesn't care about anything other than what's in the best interest of the team. And to me, I think players respect the hell out of coaches that operate on that level and communicate things like that. And he's a very unselfish guy. Yeah.
I'm with you, brother.
That's my viewpoint on it.
All right, so there's two things there. I do agree with the latter half. I do agree that there is respect in the room when you are willing to sacrifice what you look like to the media, when you take bullets for your guys, when you're able to, take a step back and assess and not be a hard ass that's sticking their feet in the mud going, this is the way I do it, motherfucker, right? I do like the fact that he's willing to adapt, willing to hear, and it does resonate with the guys, because if something isn't working, if something is going wrong, it feels like there is the ability to kind of work through this, have dialogue, have conversation. Now, why that didn't apply last season, I don't know. I saw the wide receiver screens. I saw the tight end screens. I saw some of the inability to get DeAndre Swift going. So some of the problems just continued, and there was stubbornness. So maybe it's not as unselfish as we thought. But regardless, let's say it is, right? The Nick Sirianni, the guys like him mode, I think that's right. A.J. Brown even said that during the paparazzi statements in front of his locker, that this man has done some things in the past that we love. What happened in Seattle wasn't a Nick problem. It was a me and Jalen Hurts problem, which then, of course, opened up a whole new can of worms, and that seems to be the common trend with A.J. Brown, as we'll get to what he said on Sports Illustrated. We'll talk about what he said with Kay Adams. We have the audio there as well. Now, maybe I'm nitpicking, though, but the beginning to me implies that Jason Kelce knew that Nick Sirianni was moving back to more of a CEO move, because he talks about, well, he was moving to the head coach role, and we've seen him do that with Shane Steichen. So the way that that's phrased almost tells me that Nick Sirianni entered the day-by-day offensive structure mode again, and now they are peeling it back to what worked the Super Bowl year and now trying to remove him from that. So does that mean he was forcing Brian Johnson to be awful because he was trying to incorporate too much of his stuff, which we saw the year that he gave up the play calling to Shane? That, okay, Nick is not the offensive guy. He's not the strategist, but it almost implied that last season it was a problem that he did step in too much, and that was the debate all year long. What's Brian Johnson? What's Nick Sirianni? Where's Jalen Hurts fall into this? And why are they struggling to marry the three concepts together? It shouldn't be that difficult, and it's obvious that Sirianni's beliefs do not coexist with Brian Johnson's beliefs, and then it it clearly created turmoil, and now that's why we're in this situation. But, you know, we were thinking, if it is Brian Johnson and it's that bad, don't you think you have to, as the offensive head coach, step in and say, yo, bro, this ain't working. It's now my time because we got to fix this thing. We can't continue to be garbage. We can't continue to suck. This is getting brutal and disturbing, and if it continues, we're going to lose our jobs. So it's my job to step in and say it's my way or we're all getting canned anyway. So if I'm getting canned as the top dog, I better go down swinging with my own stuff, and his own stuff stinks. That's what sucks here is his own stuff stinks. But I think it implied that he's taken a step back to the head coach CEO role, which he did before in the past. Yeah, that probably does suit Nick Sirianni better than anything else. But because they constantly take another thing off the Nick Sirianni plate as the years go by, you're getting into the uncharted territory spot where we now have coaches who were reportedly joining Vic Fangio's staff. Nope, I'm going to go to Seattle. I'm chilling. So hold on a second. We got coaches flipping you the double bird, not wanting to come to Philadelphia and be a part of this franchise. Interesting. That's the turn of events. Many factors. Roles, what's promised. But I think it's an understanding that there's a bunch of turmoil here. And is your job safe? Now, if you get an upgrade, you get an upgrade, and you have to try and maximize that opportunity. But is it safe to work for the Philadelphia Eagles right now when your head coach is on thin ice and you could be out the door just as fast as Kellen Moore was out the door in Los Angeles because they get rid of Staley. Now Jim Harbaugh is in there, and, you know, you go down that whole path. Well, with the blink of an eye, Nick Sirianni could get popped with the fire symbol. And then now what? Now you're looking for a job, get moving your family, your kids. I'm not saying that's it. I'm just kind of speculating on what type of thoughts happen when you are a coach in the league and you're trying to study what's best for me and all. I'm sure there's a big red flag waving around the Eagles because, you know, at a blink of an eye, Nick Sirianni is on thin ice and he can be out of town within an instant.